What's up, everybody? Welcome to News, Games, and More, IGN's daily live news show. I'll be your host for Tuesday, March 17th. I'm Damon Hatfield, and today I'm joined by Janet Garcia from IGN's Guides team.
Hey.
Matt Kim is IGN's news reporter.
Hello.
And on the ones and twos is Zach Ryan.
What's up, y'all?
Keeping us in touch with everybody on social. As you can see, we're all not in a fancy pants IGN studio right now. As we all work in the Bay Area, we have been mandated to work from home. So we're all here from our home offices and whatnot, but we still want to bring all the great content to you at home. You're probably stuck inside as well. And there's, of course, always video games to talk about, which helps to lighten the mood of current events. Do you guys agree?
It's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I hope video games takes a break on Friday. I could really use the weekend.
Really?
How
It beats the alternative.
Mandatory quarantine for all video games.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have to disagree with you on that one, Matt. Zach, where are we starting today? What's our big topic?
Well, I think it comes as no surprise that our biggest topic today, the biggest news, is actually news that is happening tomorrow. So, future news? Sony today announced that there would be big PlayStation 5 news coming tomorrow, specifically hot on the heels of Microsoft's announcements yesterday, where they detailed the full Xbox Series X specs. PlayStation 5 system architect Mark Cerny will reveal a deep dive into the PS5 tomorrow, March 18th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, this is a great opportunity for us to plug what we've got going tomorrow for y'all as well. We will be putting together a live stream of reactions and kind of breaking down what Sony is talking about in their reveal at 9 a.m. Look for us shortly thereafter, right here on this very YouTube or Twitch or Mixer where you're watching us. We're going to be coming at you with IGN News Live immediately following the PlayStation news. But in a now removed tweet from PlayStation Japan, the indication was that this was showing originally was part of Sony's GDC presentations, and it's indicating that this is far more likely to be a technical showcase than the announcement of games or potentially even a reveal of what the consumer version of the console looks like. So I guess my question to you, the panel, is what do we really expect from tomorrow's presentation? Because I feel like it's going to be very in the weeds, very tech heavy. What are y'all thinking?
Well, they did point people to the PlayStation blog to watch, which is their consumer-facing platform. So I would expect there to be something that's of interest to the PlayStation fans out there, the gamers.
Right.
Yeah, I think two things. I think either you're right, it's going to be a bunch of numbers, so CPU, GPU, teraflops, the really sexy stuff. Yeah. Or two, we get swerved again, and Sony does that thing where they're just like, hey, here's our logo, here's our name, and we're just going to get like the logo of the DualShock 5. Like, that's it. It's one of two things.
The logo of the DualShock 5?
Yep, that's it. They're going to go two ways.
They haven't revealed that yet.
Exactly. All numbers or just something small again. I don't know. It's a joke.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling that it is going to be underwhelming, but I feel like even though this was originally set up to be what they would have shown at GDC, now's their chance to pivot and do something more than maybe what they would have had planned, especially considering that Microsoft has so many more of their cards already out on the table. It kind of feels like there's no reason for Sony to be holding back as much anymore, and especially with them already doing something tomorrow, it's like, why not make it big? At the same time, like I do feel like, and I am worried, like it's going to be a little bit underwhelming.
I think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like it'll only be underwhelming to, I think it will be both overwhelming and underwhelming to different crowds, right? Like, it seems to me like if it's very tech heavy, there will be a specific piece of the audience that's very excited. But I think that those of us that are looking forward to actually seeing the system or hearing about the games that are coming to it, it sounds like we might be better prepared by preparing ourselves for some disappointment.
You think it's only going to be a successful show if they show off the consumer box?
I think at this point, given what Xbox has shown and what Sony hasn't, I think that it's kind of coming to a fever pitch in terms of what people are expecting to see. The sentiment on social today is very much the idea that we're finally getting the big reveal from Sony, and I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be very tech specific and very teraflops and SSDs and etc. Not release dates, not games.
Yeah. Well, compared to the way that Sony rolled out its announcements for the PlayStation 4 back in 2013, they're much later in the cycle than they were back then. However, it would be earlier for them to actually reveal the design of the console, which they didn't reveal until E3 2013. So it might be a little early to be actually hoping for the design of the console. But I wonder if this was meant to be a GDC talk, something that's aimed at game developers. I wonder if they'll talk about that PlayStation AI, which is a patent that we covered recently on IGN, which is the whole idea that a game, if you're having trouble with a game, your PlayStation 5 could recommend some microtransactions you might want to purchase that'll help you get past that boss or whatever.
Among other things, but yeah.
Among other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's no way they would maybe, even if that is going to come to fruition, I doubt they would lead with that just because I think it does rub consumers the wrong way. So I would imagine like this is their time to say something that's going to get the fans actually excited. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what they do. Damon, I think you do bring up a good point with previous E3 reveals, but now without E3 in there, and they also weren't planning to go to begin with, it kind of begs the question of where else are they going to do it? If they're not doing it tomorrow, are they going to have a big event later? Are they kind of like, how are they going to go about this rollout? For me, if they don't show what it looks like, I think that is going to be a disappointment, not just for myself personally, but I think to a lot of fans. I feel like it's always easier to get, I know there are people that get excited over tech specs, but I think it's easier when you can kind of visualize it. Then you can kind of ask, I wonder how it works. I wonder what, the power behind this actually is. And it makes those tech specs have contextualization that they won't have if you don't know what the box looks like.
Mm-hmm. I think though it will ultimately be a tech-heavy event. Billy Conn, who the lead engineer programmer at id Software, tweeted he quote tweeted the PlayStation announcement saying, "PS5 details will finally be made public tomorrow. My TLDR version, it's awesome." So, but he's also the lead engine engineer, so engine programmer.
So maybe tech folks out there should be very excited, but the general public maybe approach it with a cautious optimism, I would say, right?
I keep coming back to the fact that it could have been meant for a GDC talk, which is very developer focused, not necessarily consumer, for the benefit of the consumer. It's to try to get developers on board with developing for the PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, GDC talks have definitely sort of in the past have had really interesting things that we've broken out, we've spun out for news. I just don't see like if this is tech specific, if this is on the engineering level, like what other sorts of news do you expect to come out of it outside of like tech heavy news, Damon?
Well, we don't have the specs. We have the full specs for Xbox Series X. We do not have them for PlayStation 5, which is also very interesting to think because like if there isn't parity between these two consoles, there's I don't see how they can spin it in a way that won't make Sony look bad. If it's measurably less powerful than the Xbox Series X, I don't know where that leaves them.
I mean, the last time Sony did their reveals after the Xbox, they blew it out of the water, right? Like the PS4 details completely ate whatever the Xbox One E3 presentation was. So, I mean, if they're going by that playbook again, it might not be a huge surprise for Sony to, be intentionally waiting until Xbox shows more of their or has they've previously shown their cards, and now it's Sony's turn to be like, hey, here's our one-up strategy one more time, But
I think I've sort of been in the camp that this is kind of Sony's game to lose. Like they've been in the lead for so long with this latest console generation that I think that they're playing their cards so close to their chest because they know they can get away with it. But I do think that it is really interesting to watch the public's reaction as people are kind of getting, progressively more upset with the fact that they haven't come out and they haven't kind of played ball with Microsoft in that, this sort of back and forth. The chat early on Twitter says, "I'm absolutely not a fan of the way Xbox or PlayStation are rolling out these new generations. Drip feeding information just sucks. I wish somebody would just do a God of War E3 moment that would melt all of our minds." Now, I think it's interesting that people feel this way, but I think that we're probably all in agreement that the God of War E3 moment is likely not to happen tomorrow.
Right.
Which is just when they revealed God of War at E3?
Yeah, I mean that sort of surprise, we don't get a lot of those in the games industry these days where it's like, some sort of huge top secret thing. Like usually there's some rumors that things are in development or something like that, and then we'll get a reveal at an E3. But yeah, that God of War moment was a big deal because nobody could have anticipated it coming.
Yeah, but that's also a game for a console that was already out.
Sure.
So I'm not sure I see how that relates to a console reveal.
I think he's just talking to like that level of surprise, that level of like excitement around it, right?
Like one more thing via Apple.
Correct.
One last thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still excited. I'm excited for the presentation tomorrow.
Yeah,
same.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think
hoping for some concrete information.
At this point, exactly. I'm just excited for anything about that system, any sort of news at all, because I feel like it's been such, like such radio silence. And Damon, we called them out sort of on Next Gen Console Watch last week about how their silence might actually be putting them a little bit behind the 8 ball.
Yeah. So we'll see what they have to show tomorrow, and if that sort of puts them on a little bit of a level playing field with Xbox, because right now Xbox has a long head start on Sony in terms of getting people excited for next gen consoles. I realize everyone loves their PlayStation 4, and that's enough to get them excited for PlayStation 5. But we actually have a lot of concrete information about Xbox Series X that's really exciting.
I think there's a comment on this article that we wrote up this morning from Ireland 2033 that kind of sums it up for a lot of PlayStation fans. I can't wait to get my hands on it. As a lifelong PlayStation fan, I honestly feel like they would need to really F this up to completely, for me to not keep going with them. So I think that's kind of the general consensus among Sony fans at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, if every gen, and maybe it's just like superstition, but someone different always loses, and it's kind of Sony's turn to lose. So I'm really curious how this PS5 thing is going to play out, especially with Xbox Series X coming out so strong out of the gate.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that stream is going to be tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, and then we will be live right after some post-show coverage right here on IGN. That's right, Zach?
That's correct.
All those details right?
I believe that they're still being worked out, the final details, but I think that's the plan. So, yeah.
Cool.
And I also wanted to shout out Ty O'Daniel in the chat, who says, "Is that guy using AirPods?" Yes, I am. Yes, I am in fact using AirPods.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah. Should we move along?
Let's move along.
Okay, so the next story, I feel like we've covered off it on at least one of these stories since last week, but Black Widow from Disney and Marvel Studios has been delayed. Disney and Marvel have reportedly announced that Black Widow has been delayed until further notice from its original spring release date over concerns regarding COVID-19 or the novel coronavirus. Black Widow was originally set to be released on April 24th, 2020, and in the UK on May 1st. I think we had a lot of conversation behind the scenes as to how we would cover this story without sort of coming out and saying like, well, this is another film that's getting delayed, but it's happening with sort of alarming regularity at this point. This is the 10th major studio film to get delayed in 2 weeks. So we're looking at some pretty serious theatrical delays kind of across the board here. Yeah. And I'm wondering what it means for the film industry in general. Like, if everything is getting delayed, does that mean that we'll see a rush once this pandemic is behind us, that everybody will want to release their movie at the same time, or are we sort of back to the drawing board with how people are going to be working around each other to release films?
Yeah, I think it's going to mean billions of dollars in losses for the film industry in the short term, the near future. In terms of like when they reschedule all these things for, I don't know. You bring up a good point, because then everyone's going to be scrambling to try and get the best release dates all of a sudden. At this point, I almost wonder like what major film or television show that we know of hasn't stopped production at this point.
Yeah, it seems pretty crazy. I mean, I feel like our entertainment team, in talking to them, all of their coverage has pivoted to, now we're writing up this delay, now we're writing up this production getting slowed down, and I honestly, like, it concerns me so much that all these productions are getting delayed on the film side, but I also wonder what's happening on the game side that we're just not hearing about yet, because I know that studios, there's other countries, there's other places that are being locked down, and people are being asked to take, either work from home or just kind of wait it out. And I wonder what that means for games, quarter 2, quarter 3 games that we haven't heard from yet, or haven't heard about delays from yet.
Right. I think when it comes down to release or games with concrete release dates, the situation might be a little different. I think when CD Projekt Red first announced the first delay, I say first as if it's going to happen again, but when they announced the delay for Cyberpunk to September, they said in their statement that the game was actually in a complete state. What they were just working on was final bug fixes and polishing and stuff like that. So I guess that would mean that even as games as big as Cyberpunk that aren't ready to come out until September are at least in some sort of like 90%, 99% completion mode, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at the same time, I think there's always still a risk, even with like the comment about Cyberpunk, like, sure, you're just polishing it up. But I think we've all had projects where we're like, oh, it's almost done. And then it takes actually way longer than you expect, because especially when it comes to doing fixes, you never know how long it'll take you, what you might find, how one thing might change another. So yeah, it's always like a little sensitive in that sense. But I do think them confirming to us, I think it was yesterday, that everything's going on track and good so far helps solidify it. But to me, that's always a little bit of a question mark there, especially with issues in the world kind of seeping in and affecting people's workflow.
We also found out yesterday at it's Universal, I believe, that are going to be putting their first run movies out digitally. In theaters.
Like that's the big thing, right? Is Marvel, are Marvel and Disney and all these other companies going to cut their losses and just put out these new movies directly on their streaming services? And that's like the big question hanging over stuff like Black Widow and Mulan. I guess a lot of Disney films, because they're the ones that are taking over this next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised when we, first covered. I think the first big delay was Fast 9, and when we covered that on this show live, a lot of people were not necessarily upset about the idea of not going to the theater. And that surprised me as like an avid film buff, like an avid moviegoer. I thought that everybody was on board with, I want to see a big movie in the theater. Like that's how I want to experience it. But apparently that's not necessarily the case. And like I'm willing to fork over $16 to $20 to see a first run movie in the comfort of my own living room. I think that'd be really cool. But do I want it to be that way forever for a lot of these movies? Definitely not. Yeah,
and they're not charging movie theater prices. I think the price to rent Invisible Man, which is still in theaters or was before they closed the theaters, was $19 if you want to get it digitally.
Right.
Which is like $5 more.
Yeah, which, I guess it sounds expensive, but not if you think what it costs to go to the movies for two people.
Right.
Yeah, though, I mean, in that case, wait, that's for owning it though, right? Like you don't just rent it, you like have it already. Like if you were to pay that $19, right? Or is it, because I think that would also change how I feel about that price point. I think in terms of price as well, like I know a lot of people have, like I have AMC stubs where I just pay $23 and I go to, now it sounds like an ad for AMC stubs, three movies a week, every week if you want to. And I just suspended my subscription for a month because I know I won't be going. And the question is as well, like, will they lose a user base that way? How many people will, cancel that, not re-up on it, or decide, what, actually, I don't feel like I need this. So I think, the repercussions go further than even just how the industry is going to react. Also, how are consumers going to react and possibly, change their watching habits as a result.
I looked it up. Sorry, it's 48-hour rental.
For $20.
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, I get what they're doing.
That's what it costs to go to the movies, though. That's cheaper than seeing two people seeing a movie in San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah, but that's why I have AMC stubs. So I made it like cheaper than that. And that doesn't have like that one kind of like just kind of stuck paying that.
Think about it this way, though. I just rented The Dark Knight Rises for $3.99 on Amazon Prime, and I could watch it as many times as I wanted in 48 hours.
You'll never get those $4 back, so
Oh yeah, there are a few movies that I've rented over and over and over again, and I'm like, I could have bought it like several times over, but I'm like, nope, just gonna pay $3.99 again.
That's an interesting way to spend $4, Zach.
Look, I was trying to complete the trilogy. I haven't seen the third Batman film in a very long time. And actually, it's a better movie than you remember. I'll put that out there.
What's your best Bane impersonation?
I'm not going to do that on live internet television. I think that's a bad idea.
I have a question for Janet.
Yes.
Okay.
You had to. Wait, no, Zach's not going to do it. Unless he is going to do it.
I'm not going to do it.
Okay, he's not going to do it. Jenna, you had to cancel your stub subscription. AMC's not like taking care of that for you since they closed it.
No, they did. Yeah, I just had to hit pause. I think it does automatically renew on its own. But yeah, they didn't like reach out to me about anything specific.
Well, I would think
that's
they would
actually pretty good. That's actually a pretty good PSA.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody out there that has the AMC Stubs subscription, keep that in mind, because I'm gonna do that as soon as we're done recording. I'm gonna put mine on pause because I'm not trying to pay for all those movies that I'm not seeing.
I think I had to do it from the website, so you might not be able to do it with an app, which is kind of annoying. I think I did have to go to the website, but yeah, you just pause, it'll automatically go back. You can't unpause it though. They're like, once you do this, it's done. And I'm like,
Time
that's
out.
fine. Go.
IGN News is chiming in the chat. Our man Jobert here is saying that AMC A-List is actually automatically pausing all subscriptions. I got the notification today.
Okay, I did it yesterday, so that makes sense.
There is something that we should address, a couple of things that we should address before we move off of this story. First of all, I wanted to point out, like, a lot of people in the chat are asking the same question, including Giuseppe Arena, who asks, hey, IGN, do you guys and gals think that The Last of Us 2 will be delayed? I think that amongst the chat, that is the most prescient concern. Do we think that The Last of Us 2 will be delayed due to coronavirus? And I think the answer there is, who knows? I don't know.
I want to say
that's so speculative.
I would say no, actually.
I want to say no, just because we're so close to release now.
Yeah.
I think the investment's already been made. It's already been delayed once. If it's delayed further, who knows how long down the pipeline? Because who knows how long this Corona thing is going to continue? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, they told us in San Francisco that it would be over by April 7th. So.
Oh, okay, that's the hard day where they're just gonna be like, it's done now.
They're like, we actually stopped production on the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we canceled production on coronavirus on April 7th.
Yeah, there really is no way to be able to answer that without just taking a wild guess. You know, we're not privy to how that workflow is. But yeah, like you guys said, I imagine with it being so close that a delay is pretty unlikely. But you know, anything's possible.
I'm less concerned about, like I said earlier, like I'm less concerned about games so close. I'm more concerned about, quarter 3, quarter 4 games that people are out of the office now. Like, people can't work on their games now. So what does that mean? What does that mean for consoles as well? You know, like if production and production work on the consoles and production work on games has halted or slowed, like, yeah, we're going to see like major delays. And I don't really feel like anybody's talking about that yet.
But I don't think we know of any quarter 4 games yet, though, do we? Which could be good news because then they could delay it and we would never know.
That's true. Yeah.
They could just announce it for early 2021 and we'd be none the wiser.
Yeah, that's fair.
We also learned today that Avatar filming has suspended on the Avatar sequels and also the Batman. Just new information for today.
So one of those I'm really bummed about. I'll let you guess which one.
I know you're a big Avatar fan.
Yeah, it's all he ever talks about.
You'll be shocked to know that you're all wrong. Even after watching the third Bat film, I'm still very excited for the Batman. So,
how much does it cost to rent Avatar on Amazon Prime?
I bet it's also $3.99.
It's free on Disney Plus.
I mean,
that's true.
There you go. Yeah,
so. Can't afford not to watch it.
If you're out there and you're having trouble sleeping, or you just got 2.5 hours that you need to kill, put on Avatar.
It's gonna
that's all about.
It's gonna make $1 gajillion, Avatar 2, and it's gonna come out because James Cameron made some deal with the devil. Because I
probably so.
Yeah.
There's one last note that I wanted to point out, going all the way back to where this conversation started about Black Widow being postponed indefinitely. Over on IGN, in the comments section, Sideways Big M says, like Thanos, this news was inevitable, and I just thought that was very clever.
Yeah, I was waiting for this one.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the point. Like, I feel like when this stuff is breaking now, the kind of general reaction in the office is like, well, yeah, who didn't see that coming? I think anything that's slated for a April release or even May is in pretty deep trouble right now. I almost did a cuss. You almost caught me. I almost.
We're still rated G.
But I didn't do a cuss. All right, let's move on. This next story I think is really cool. Mostly because I'm not in the know on PC gaming, but I think this is really interesting. Nvidia is calling on gaming PC owners.
Man. You skipped over Doom.
COVID-19. Oh shit. Oh no.
Now we're rated PG.
Sorry.
We're gonna talk about
so
Doom.
hard.
IGN's review of Doom is out, and guess what? 9.0.
Amazing.
It's an amazing game.
Yeah.
Yes. It looks single player.
Played it and wants to talk about it.
It is as good as Animal Crossing.
Yeah, and Ori.
And Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
I haven't played it, but I had a dream about it, and that's how I know it's good.
Wait, which one? Doom?
Doom.
Okay.
I didn't actually have a dream about it, but I want it. I want to play it really badly, and it burns me up inside that some of you have played it already.
Well, soon enough.
Soon. I know.
Everyone's going to get to play soon. Ryan McCaffrey reviewed it for IGN. They review the single-player campaign because the multiplayer doesn't go live until the 20th, I believe, when the game is. So that's still forthcoming. But Ryan said Doom Eternal is one of the best first-person shooter campaigns in years. Its brand of fun remains unmatched in first-person shooters. Yeah, it's the latest in a string of 9s we've been getting recently with Animal Crossing and Ori. Finally, some big, great games coming out in 2020.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a bit of a slog. There's been some games that I've really loved, but I feel like Animal Crossing and Doom were the ones that I was really waiting for. I'm kind of bummed that they are coming out on the same day. I wish there was maybe like a week in between because I know I can tear through Doom, but I'm going to be spending a not insignificant amount of time with Animal Crossing, building my islands, just really getting to be good friends with those little critters. It's going to be a great time out there.
I have a hot strat. I got Doom Eternal digitally for PS4, and I am getting Animal Crossing physically in the mail. Okay. When Doom Eternal unlocks Thursday night at 9 p.m., I'm going to play through all through the night, and hopefully have it done before Animal Crossing comes in the mail the next day.
That is really a specific kind of challenge.
Thank you.
Janet, can you add that tip to the wikis?
Absolutely. Actually, Matt can add himself. Anyone can edit our wikis. Be happy to have
No, I don't think that's how it works.
I gotta point out this comment in the comment section over here. Where did it go? I just lost it. Cryo Boy joins us on YouTube and says, "Hi guys, just joined. When's that PlayStation 5 release date?" Sorry to disappoint. We don't have that kind of information. Did you guys play the first I guess the Doom reboot, Doom 2016?
2016?
Ooh, just barely.
Yeah, I just barely played it too.
Oh, just recently you played it, you mean?
No, just barely. I played like
a small.
I played it for a Let's Play on IGN with Jared Petty.
What?
Ooh!
Wow, this story's cool.
I played it back when it came out in 2016. It was great.
Yeah, that game kicks ass. And I feel like this game definitely looks like it's building upon what that game did. But honestly, it could do the exact same thing, and I would have just as much fun with it. That game is amazing. So I'm really stoked for this one.
Doom's a series that's kind of always been good. Like most of my Doom experience comes from the first Doom. I think I had gotten it again on Switch and everything. It's just fun, and it's funny because people have been making comparisons between Doom and Animal Crossing, right? You rip and tear weeds, you rip and tear flesh, making all these jokes between the two. But what's kind of interesting about these games, they can be as kind of intensive or as casual as you want them to be, because Doom does have difficulty settings. If you crank it really low on the difficulty, you can just blast through everything without having much strategy. But if you have it at normal or even some of the harder difficulties, then you can kind of put yourself to a lot more of a challenge. So it can be kind of like this mindless, meditative, awesome thing, just depending on how you want to play it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I've been playing the original Doom 1 and 2 on my Switch recently, and I feel like I haven't played just a straight ahead first person shooter in probably a couple of years now.
So you're gonna play the sequel, but you haven't played the original. How will you know what's going on, Damon? Aren't you worried that you're gonna be so lost in the plot?
Watch all the cutscenes on YouTube.
The complicated myth.
Yeah, I'll watch the cutscenes on YouTube.
Okay, well,
get me all caught up.
Get prepared to spend a little time really getting caught up with the mythos there.
We ran a poll in our Doom review today. The IGN audience, what is their favorite Doom in the whole series? And Doom 2016 is winning by a landslide.
How could it not?
Yeah, it's so good.
I mean, the original Doom is still pretty great today.
Yeah, I agree.
Damon, only olds like you and me like the original Doom. All the kids like new Doom.
Janet is not an old, and she likes Doom.
That's true.
Okay,
Can
that's
confirm,
fair.
not an old.
All right, that's fair. Got it. So let's move on to this story that I accidentally jumped to earlier, and now I'm coming back around to. Nvidia is calling on gaming PC owners to fight COVID-19. So this comes from Games Radar, our friends over there. Nvidia is putting out a call to all PC gamers everywhere to download the Folding Home application and start putting their spare clock cycles towards advancing humanity's scientific knowledge of coronavirus. The program links computers to an international network that uses distributing processing power to chew through massive computing tasks, something that gaming-grade CPUs are quite good at, as it turns out. This is really cool. I didn't know you could do this with the PC. Maybe I was been wrong this whole time, and PC actually is the best one?
Well, I'm having flashbacks to 2007 when this was a big deal for the PlayStation 3.
How so?
They released the folding at home application for the PlayStation 3 because at the time with its cell processor, it was more powerful than a lot of PCs at the time. So yeah, this was like an application you could download to your PlayStation 3 and just have it running, and you were contributing to this research. And it was available on there from 2007 to 2012, I believe.
You guys know about reCAPTCHA?
No. Explain.
You know the little capture the safety system that's like, are you human? Do this reCAPTCHA thing, right? So the reCAPTCHA is actually a service that helps digitize books that are currently scanned in the Internet Archives. It's started by the School of Computer Science at Carnegie Mellon. Basically, every time you prove to yourself that you prove to the computer that you're a human using a reCAPTCHA service, it actually just learns from it and digitizes more books via that system. So, yeah. So a lot of these online services that are secretly helping better humanity.
That's really interesting. You know, I didn't realize until recently that robots cannot discern cars from like static backgrounds. Yeah, robots don't know what cars are. That's why all those tests have you spotting cars.
Yeah, that's
so they can't drive.
That's true.
Yeah,
they still can't drive. Should we move on to Pokemon Go? Matt, I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about this.
What?
Well, unless Matt has something to add to this Nvidia story. He mentioned that they've also in the past asked when Razer asked their users to mine Bitcoin.
Yeah. So this power can also be used for evil. Razer, a different company, learned that the hard way when they had a little app that kind of did a similar thing where you download an app and it runs your computer in the background. Except this one was for mining some Bitcoin, and you would get some reward points in return. And people were like, "No, we don't want to mine Bitcoin for you, Razer. Sorry." So there's good uses and there's Bitcoin uses.
I mean, I guess everything in moderation, right?
I think.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let's move on.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, we're going to talk about Pokemon Go. So, Matt, you wrote this story about Pokemon Go in the time of coronavirus. You want to tell us a little bit about what's happening over there?
Yeah.
Pokemon Go, obviously a game that encourages you to go outside and participate in raids and trades and stuff with actual real life human beings, which at this very moment in time is frowned upon. So what's Niantic doing about it?
Yes, that was what I wanted to ask. Is basically I play Pokemon Go, but casually, and that's sort of the main player base right now for the game. Is it's actually more popular than ever. Last year in 2019, Niantic reported its biggest profits ever, even bigger than in 2016 when it launched. And so there are a ton of people still playing Pokemon Go. I play it, but I mostly play it on my way to work. So so I don't do groups or raids or anything like that. I just collect steps and some odd Pokemon here and there. But ever since we've been locked down in San Francisco, I've obviously been playing less and less. And I was curious if what others around the world had to say about that and what other players might be dealing with. And it was really interesting because when I first started reaching out to players, a lot of the answers that I got back were like, no, I've not been impacted by COVID-19. Like it hasn't impacted my gameplay at all. I'm still playing as usual. But that was a day before Italy announced its full countrywide closure. That was a couple days before our president went on and issued a state of emergency. And the responses that I got over the course of the week while looking at this story actually evolved. So it started out with a bunch of no's, and it became yes. Actually, I've started playing less. I've not gone out more. My usual group no longer gets together. My usual spot. I had one commenter from the DC area who says I used to go to the National Mall. That was my Pokemon Go spot, and I no longer go there. Oh, look at that cat! And and so it was really fascinating to see the story basically evolve in real time as it did. And Niantic has also announced like changes to the game to make it easier to play at home. So now you can catch Pokemon from your home without going anywhere easier. They've put an immense discount on incense, so you could attract Pokemon to your location rather than go out. And it's been really fascinating, basically, to see the coronavirus outbreak evolve over time through this lens of Pokemon Go players.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say when you initially reached out to them, they weren't worried about it at all. Mm-hmm. I think we were all sort of taken off guard by how quickly this thing has progressed. Like 1 week ago, we didn't even know we would be asked to work from home, much less have it be mandatory. So yeah, I think every single day has brought new developments.
Yep. And that was basically what I learned over the course of just 1 week of talking to Pokemon Go players around the world. Basically showed me how the situation was evolving and how people were suddenly going like, oh no, I'm not too worried about it. I'm still going out. It's no big deal, to, players in New York City going like, hey, I'm no longer, taking the metro to work. I'm worried about going out into public spaces or gatherings. My raid group doesn't meet anymore. And it's been really interesting to see how the situation has evolved through this one game that seems perfectly designed to sort of explore what happens when an outbreak hits gaming, because it's a social game that you have to actually go out for.
Jen, are you a Pokemon Go player?
Not anymore. I played a lot when it was first out. I feel like everyone did. Like I went on it. I've been, I've debated getting back into it, but that's always just a lie we tell ourselves when we're actually not going to play that game ever again. But yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of the game when it came out. I think it's interesting that you guys know it's true. I think it's interesting that like so many gamers are rushing to play games now, and there's such an influx in the amount of games being played. But then you have a game like this where like the act of playing it is dangerous given the circumstances. So it's just crazy to see like how distinctly different those two situations are. I know there's been talks too with like, with Half-Life Alyx coming out and like sharing VR headsets and the idea of like transferring stuff that way too. So it's interesting how there are a few games that are like kind of in a more negative light as a result of COVID.
I wanted to toss to YouTube here really quick. Jericho J says, once Corona blows over, I hope they take out the play from home aspects of Pokemon Go. I feel like it kind of defeats the wholesome and healthy purpose of it. Matt, you're the only person that like plays regularly. What do you think about that? Do you feel like they should keep some of this stuff in, or is it discourage players of getting outside, which is kind of the the original point?
I mean, this everything that they announced recently has felt like a direct answer to the coronavirus and not a very sophisticated one. It seems like a stopgap measure, so it definitely feels temporary, just to tide people over through this emergency until things become normal again and normal gameplay can resume, is what it feels like just from a gameplay perspective.
Right.
So I don't think they'll I don't think they'll keep these changes in, especially because these changes are meant for people who are stuck at home.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the Harry Potter game? Are people still out there playing that, Matt?
You know what? I didn't look into that one.
Oh, I see.
I no longer play the game.
All right.
I played it for wikis for a bit, and then I was done.
Pokemon has had a real like longevity. Like it's been going on 4 years strong. I feel like there was about 2 weeks where that Harry Potter game was a big deal, and I don't feel like it got the respect that it deserved. It was a pretty decent Pokemon Go clone. No, it wasn't. I'm just kidding. It was bad.
It was aggressively okay.
Yeah. Matt, you're one of our news guys. Like you're a original news reporter, and I just wanted to, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I did want to highlight Delwyn Jones here. He asks, "Hey, any news on GTA 6? Will it be coming out for PS5, guys?"
I heard.
Yeah, we can finally we can reveal that right now, right?
Yeah. Okay, so Rockstar told. No, I'm joking. I don't know anything about GTA 6. I know nothing about GTA 6. Sorry.
So you're confirming there is a GTA 6. That's what you're saying right now.
It could be GTA 7. I don't know. I don't know anything about the next GTA after 5.
So you're saying there is going to be a next GTA? Okay.
I don't think they canceled the GTA series. I feel like I can say that confidently.
We talked a little bit about Animal Crossing and a little bit about Doom Eternal, but I wanted to bring it back around to those two games because GameStop cancels midnight release for Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal on Thursday night. Can anybody guess why the midnight release for both of these games was canceled?
Is it coronavirus?
Correct.
Oh, nice.
Matt does it again with a lucky guess, I assume. Here's a quote from GameStop Senior Vice President. He says, like many businesses, we're taking action to institute multiple social distancing practices in our store, such as only allowing 10 customers in our stores at any given time, canceling all gaming events and midnight launch activities until further notice, disabling temporarily all interacting gaming stations in our store, introducing in-store line management practices, blah, 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 blah. So basically, they're doing what they can to adhere to the social distancing practices that we're all seeing everywhere. It's not very surprising. Like I wasn't surprised to see this news. I do think that people that like those, sort of midnight launches and love to have like a physical release the moment that they can get it are probably pretty bummed by this.
Yeah, I guess so. But like Matt, you've been doing a lot of reporting on GameStop recently and their struggles to stay alive, basically. And their whole sort of pivot for their stores going forward is to make them more communal spaces where people come and hang out. So this has to be tough for them to sort of make that transition, don't you think?
It really feels like a worst possible thing at the worst possible time kind of scenario. You know, GameStop has been actively pursuing a strategy to turn their stores into communal gathering spaces where they hold live events, esport tournaments, tabletop games, basically things to let people who want to just hang out with other players at a place. And now we're in a time where that is actively discouraged and you can't hang out with anyone anywhere anymore. So it feels really bad, and it seems like that's sort of one of the reasons why GameStop, as opposed to like movie theater chains, has not announced any like store closures, is because they have not been having the healthiest profits, or profits, I guess, but not much of it in the past couple of years.
But I guess GameStop has an online business that most movie studios don't.
It's true. Yeah. I imagine a lot more people are pre-ordering from the website more than going into the stores these days. But
now, I was just going to say, like, Amazon announced today that they're not going to be delivering anything except essentials. So I guess like what happens if people have ordered like Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal from Amazon?
Wait, I didn't hear about that. What's going to happen with my Animal Crossing order?
Ooh, Matt, I have bad news for you.
You might have more, or good news. You have more time to play.
Oh no, this is the worst news ever. I gotta go. I gotta leave.
Yeah, I don't know what that means for people who are waiting on video games from Amazon. I didn't think about that.
Well, now I'm sad actually. I've got no.
Yeah, that's a real bummer.
I didn't hear about that either.
I'm sorry.
That's crazy. The midnight release being canceled really sucks. Like that's probably what I feel like what I love most about social media. Obviously, I definitely wouldn't have gone to something like that given the circumstance either, so I understand why they canceled it, but at the same time it's like that's one of, to me, the big appeals of physical media, going in, being kind of part of that hype, opening it up, like rushing back, starting it up. Like I remember being there for like the midnight release of the Switch and Breath of the Wild, and that was such like an exciting, memorable moment. So it really sucks that fans don't have that, and especially in the wake of all of GameStop their issues, and we don't even know how many more of these kind of events we can have. Makes it additionally unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zach, are you bummed? I know you were planning on going to the midnight launch this Thursday.
I haven't been to a midnight anything in decades. I don't go to midnight movies. I don't go to midnight game launches. I do everything digitally because I can download that and have it preloaded. And when it unlocks at 9 p.m. on Thursday, I'm in there.
You're a modern man.
I am. I like to consider myself, pretty with the times, if I do myself.
I'm an old at heart.
We've got confirmation. Amazon is not restocking anything but essentials, so they're still fulfilling orders that have already been placed.
Okay.
There you go.
Got him.
Man, you really dodge a bullet on that one.
All right. I've been waffling. I've been really on the fence on whether or not I should get Animal Crossing physically or digitally, and it's really been a tough choice for me, actually.
Yeah, I know you were talking to me a little bit about it as well. I I don't know. I haven't bought a game physically in years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I've only bought games physically as impulse buys at like Target when I walk past Luigi's Mansion 3 and I'm like, oh yeah,
that happens.
Look at that. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I really need to switch over my collection to digital. It's just I've been buying all of my Switch games physically, and it feels dumb to start going digital with Animal Crossing. I feel like the game after Animal Crossing is when I'll do it.
Why?
I don't know, because I want Animal Crossing in my house. I don't know, just because I want.
Is there a chance we could roll that B-roll back, because there is something that I wanted to address in this Animal Crossing video here. Okay,
Impossible.
never mind. This is breaking news. I'm hearing that we can't
Impossible.
roll any B-roll back. Sorry. This is what happens when you do a show remotely from 5 different places. So I did want to say, Jericho J on YouTube says, and I think this is just kind of a fun exercise. You guys want to share your dream day one game releases for the new consoles, ones that aren't rumored or talked about. I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but what are your day one dream game releases for the PlayStation and the Xbox?
Jak 4 for the PS5.
Jak 4.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
New Silent Hill for the PS5.
New Silent Hill for PS5, Damon?
That's
I'd
good.
say God of War 2 for PS5.
God of War 2 for PS5, launch day?
Yeah.
Okay, that's ambitious.
And then for Xbox, I want a new Banjo, like a Banjo-Kazooie platformer.
Yep. That
Okay.
one.
For Xbox.
I'm pointing upwards because
for Xbox, I want Sunset Overdrive.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Wait, did Insomniac get bought by Sony though?
They did.
What? We're just there are no rules here, Matt.
Sorry.
Well, you know what? There is no Jak 4. Okay, is that what you want me to say right now?
No, okay, that's fair. No,
fine.
You're right.
You know, whoever wants to make, fine, put it on PS5. As long as there's Sunset Overdrive 2, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, I think my picks would be Bloodborne 2 on the PlayStation 4, and then maybe a new Fable game on Xbox. Yeah, I did say PlayStation 4. I mean PlayStation 5. Yeah, give me Bloodborne 2. I'm working my way back through Bloodborne, as a lot of people are doing in that game. Rips. So I'd love to see a sequel on day one. That'd be really cool. But however, I do want to highlight. I Am Steve says Metal Gear Solid 2 for PlayStation 5. That game already happened all the way back on the PlayStation 5.
I would still play it though.
He wants to
do that again.
He wants to play Metal Gear Solid 2 with ray tracing.
That sounds good.
That rain is on that bridge, throws that cigarette. It's great.
I think technically, I think if we're talking about Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PlayStation 5, that would be Metal Gear ray tracing. Huh? You guys get it? You guys Metal Gear fans out there? Metal Gear Ray?
Boo.
Come on. I thought that was very good.
It's St. Patrick's Day, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's hard to tell because we can't go outside.
I know. I know. So like, what? Destin's talking to us. No one can hear you.
Destin keeps trying to talk to us.
But I want to know what are you guys playing tonight while you're staying at home on St. Patrick's Day?
I'm going to play a lot of Irish whiskey and see how that goes. But I also restarted The Last of Us probably for the first time in like 5 years.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Can I just say that replaying The Last of Us now, different vibe.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally different vibe at the moment to play that game.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm playing right now. I'm kind of in between things because I just finished The Last of Us for the first time ever.
Wow.
Okay.
I finished it on Saturday. It's awesome. Like it's the hype is real. Like it really does age well. It holds up perfectly. Like it was a great experience. I had a really good time with it. But it was definitely weird to play now when everything's all run down and empty and all the stores
Super
are
weird.
It kind of feels like, should I just start checking drawers for like bottles of alcohol and rags? And half of The Last of Us is opening drawers, and I'm not mad at it. I love opening drawers in games. It's drawer open simulator with some story and some poorly executed shots.
Wait, so Janet, you're in between games right now?
Yeah, because I just finished that one. I'm not sure what my next will be.
You should play Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh my god.
That's a good one.
Actually,
right?
I am
Isn't it a good one?
I have tried playing that game and it was not good, in my opinion. I am working my way through though IGN's top 100 games. I'm working my way through the games that I am not personally familiar with. I've hit like Mega Man 3. That's why I played The Last of Us. Also prepping for the next game. So I forgot what the next game I have on that list. I think it's actually Half-Life. So I might dip into Half-Life.
Will you just play Black Mesa?
What's that?
Will you just play Black Mesa to play Half-Life, or are you going to play Half-Life?
I think I would play Half-Life.
Wow, that's interesting.
Like that's what's on the list. So I'm just going by what's on the list.
Black Mesa is a fan-made remake that has Valve's blessing that just came out. That's why.
I went and did the original Half-Life thinking I would do that before Half-Life 2, and it was really rough. So I just stopped playing.
Well, then take it off our list.
Yeah, I didn't make that list single-handedly.
Well, when we make it again, we can take it off.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna do then.
All right. Well, that's the other reason that I'm going through the list, so I can take stuff off if I don't think it's good anymore.
Wow, powerful.
And then
really vindictive energy. Actually, you're coming in there to hack away at the list.
Well, yeah, because then I can fit new things in. I can't say the game is bad if I've never played it. I'm like, hey, I did this. It's ass. Or actually is dope.
I was under the impression that this was like a wholesome thing where you're just like, man, I just love working with IGN so much that I'm going to play all their top 100 games. But in actuality, you're making a hit list for the next top 100 meeting. You're like, all right, now I know what games we got to take off of there.
Yeah, I'm going to be so prepared for our next meeting. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Matt, what are you playing tonight?
I'm doing don't judge me. I've been getting really into Final Fantasy 14 again, and so I'm in part of a raid group, and now I'm going to be doing a high-end extreme trial tonight with some friends of mine. Hopefully get that loot.
I would venture to say that the whole world is doing a high-end extreme trial right now. Matt, when is that update coming out for Final Fantasy 14 that's supposed to reduce the time that you need to spend in vanilla 14?
I think that's coming 4.5. We're on 4.2 right now, so a couple months.
So we got a ways.
Yeah, by the end of the year, maybe.
Damn, I really want to get into Final Fantasy 14 because everybody, yourself included, that has been playing it for however many years, say that it's amazing.
If you start now, you'd probably get to where you need to go, even if you instead of just waiting to November when the update comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I just feel like I tried Final Fantasy 14 back in, maybe 2016, 2017, and it just bored me so much. That vanilla version was just so tough to slog through.
The first expansion is just a million times better. Heavensward, and then it just gets better and better. So like Heavensward is way better than A Realm Reborn, and Stormblood is way better than Heavensward, and Shadowbringers is the best of them all. So
I just feel like having to slog through 30, 40 hours to get through that initial campaign. If I can play a truncated version, I'll wait.
Hey, so we've burned through our topics today. Should we reveal the topic?
Sure.
What was that?
We passed on talking about late night hosts all working from home or on hiatus.
Relate.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't watch any. I don't watch any of the late night shows. You guys?
No. I mean, I'll catch bits and pieces when something goes viral or
when there's a clip. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the John Oliver episode.
I do think that. What do you want?
Destin says we can talk about Xbox. What about Destin?
Hey, my mic's hot. You guys could talk about your reactions to the Xbox announcements from yesterday. We kind of covered off on it. And what do you think? Are you impressed by the tech specs? What price do you think it's going to hit? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
The price is going to be, I think, $500, $499 at least.
Well, we had an article on the site that thinks it could be even higher than that. It could be $600 or $700 for the Series X model.
7 would be insane.
Well, but then you could have the $450, $500 Lockhart model.
Yeah, it's high-end PC specs. It's really beefy. They'll be taking an extreme loss at it, I think, if they go anything below 500.
Well, I think everyone realizes it's not going to be less than 500.
Yeah,
but the question is, does it come in higher?
I can't imagine coming higher. I don't think people want to pay $600 for it.
There's only one price it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 is so high. I would probably still get it at 6 though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I would be curious as to if it was 6 for that model and there was like a cheaper, less powerful model, I'd be curious price point and what those features are. I could definitely see myself getting that in lieu of the higher tier model, because currently I'm just running on an Xbox One S and I don't feel like I'm missing. I mean, I know it would look better if I had an X, but I don't feel particularly bad that I don't have a better looking console. So I think I could just continue that mediocrity of being one step below where everyone else is, and just bring that into the next gen. I think I'm totally comfortable with that.
Powerful. Here's a genuine hot take. I actually really like the design of the Series X. I really like the tower block.
Hate it.
And
I think it looks
hate it. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's dope. And if PS5 has a V carved into it, I would be very tempted to opt for the Xbox version.
I would too. Those prototype designs for the PlayStation 5 look terrible.
Awful.
Yeah, but I don't think that's how it's gonna look.
No, I certainly hope not. But Janet, is you hate the look of the Series X? Is it just a visceral reaction, or is there a reason why?
I mean, I think it's kind of one and the same. Like, it's just not appealing to me. And that's tower, and I'm basically stand it up. I already have to stand up Switch, which is, at least it's for a purpose because you have to like pull the Switch out. So that's why it has to stand above your TV stand for easy access to the console. But there's not really a reason I need to have it in this like Alexa type tower just like sitting there. Yeah, that's just super unappealing to me. Also, I miss when consoles had more unique and interesting designs. I understand that if it's simplistic and just like black or gray, it has more mass appeal. I totally comprehend that, but it looks boring, ugly, and drab. Like, I love my 1S because it's really cool. It's white, it pops, it has like some nice, like the way like the kind of divvies into the bottom, like it has like that 2-stack rectangle, unlike the PS4, which is just just a slanted slab, and then the Pro is a slanted slab on another slab. And you can't even tell where you know what I want for PS5? I want to know what the eject button and the start button. Like, that's my biggest thing I want out of PS5.
That's a good idea.
Damon, I'd like for you to respond to these allegations if you can, please. Our friend Rosemary Mead, he says, Damon's a poser. The PS5 mock-ups look just like his guitar.
I saw that comment too.
if it looked like this, that would be badass.
Oh.
I thought that was very good. You say you want to see the eject button and the power button, Janet. I think that's really interesting because like I constantly am looking, like fumbling around trying to find the eject button, and usually just have to go through on my PlayStation 4 and have to go through and do it through the menu. So yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that as well. I think the Xbox Series X looks cool. I like that it's sort of this like monolithic tower, and I would happily set it up, all right there alongside my PS5. I'm still not really convinced that I'm going to get it though. I've always been a PlayStation guy. And I'm interested to see what Sony does. But I also kind of agree with Matt in that if Sony settles on that big flying V looking thing, I don't know. I might have a harder time justifying a $500 spend there.
Here's what I need for eject buttons and power buttons going forward is don't let them be turned on by cats, or, don't let them be operatable by cat paws. That's it.
That's my favorite part about the Xbox, is that any cat can turn it on.
My cat.
You're talking about the base one, though, right?
Whichever one is just like touch powered.
That's the base one. I don't think the X has that. At least I would hope not. But yeah, I want the button to be clear what it is and where, and I want it to be a real button, not just like that touch thing. Yeah, I would turn on constantly, and it was awful.
X-Man 0824 says, so if games are awesome and exclusive, that's going to make you say no. Not getting it because of the button placement. I don't think anybody is actually saying that. I don't think that, obviously that's not the case here.
I use things I complain about all the time. I think having a few doesn't mean that you're not going to like the thing or want it. I mean, I have so many issues with my Switch, Joy-Con drift, like so many things I don't like about it, but it's still like my favorite console, and I still love the hell out of it. It's probably one of my favorite Nintendo systems ever. So, I think at the end of the day, how we're going to end up feeling about PS5 and Xbox, this next line of consoles, is going to come down to not just how the product functions, but also the experiences we can have on those products. So I think until we have those moments, we're not really going to know how this plays out until we kind of have like those experiences already.
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow, maybe.
Yes,
maybe. Last question from me. In some sort of like Hail Mary scenario, do you think what's your percentage guess that we get a look at the PlayStation 5's final form factor? Anybody?
38%.
5%.
5%, 38%, Matt?
20%.
28%. I'm going to go solid 50. I'm going to say 50-50 on this one. I feel like we might. I feel like we might not. That's the hard-hitting journalism that you come to IGN for. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, perhaps.
Yeah.
Real low.
Hey guys, producer Destin here, Mike Hott again. Good to see you. I did have one last question for you. from off cam here. Zach, can you comment on these dancing hot dogs next to you on the live stream right now? That would be great.
I don't see them. Where are they?
Oh, they're there.
Oh yeah, look at these guys. Oh.
They're hanging out.
That's how I discovered there's a delay, more of a delay on YouTube than on our Discord. So, Damon, you want to take us out of here? I'm tired of these dancing hot dogs.
Yes, everybody, thank you for joining us for News Games, our live news show. We had a good time. Make sure you tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific for the PlayStation 5 deep dive reveal. We're going to have a post show immediately after that at 10 a.m. Pacific, and then we'll be back with another news game and more tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.